Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, Mark.
So I just want to put in from the foundation standpoint, the first
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, if you feel that the information isn't essential, but the foundation's contribution to the Columbus Foundation's emergency fund is incredibly tiny compared to the amount of money that is supporting COTS and PCC and Physician Leadership Academy.
Great call.
I think that the community could benefit from knowing that, and certainly the foundation could benefit it. And I'm not trying to be self-serving.
No, I think that makes sense. That's a great call. Thank you. I'm going to make that note, and we will revise it before we send it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I think the support of COTS immediately is just a great call out that we need to point out.
Can I ask one other question? What I'm seeing at the State House at the press conferences that Dr. Acton and DeWine are doing is they're starting to see more and more protesters there. How can we I don't know if we can effectively address that or if there is any way to do that, but it just seems like because things aren't as bad as people expected, that they don't believe that it could be as bad.
Right.
I know that doesn't make sense, but I'm just wondering, how do you talk to the naysayers, the people who are out there protesting because obviously they're afraid of, losing their business or losing their jobs or whatever, the case may be?
Right. I definitely have a view on it. I will open it up too and see, before I share my view, what does everybody else think about that with the protesters? You can even see them, even just on Amy and DeWine's Instagram accounts. You can just see people that kind of flood as haters.
Certainly the economy is really important. A lot of people are concerned about that. But, if from the early projections, if we're having that many people dead, I'm not sure how significant the economy is if that many people are dying. And so, but as I think one of the things that we need to stress is what a great job Ohio, from a government standpoint, from a preparedness standpoint, from an organizational preparedness, particularly in Central Ohio, between the health systems and between the CMA and COTS and other organizations, how well we've worked together and prepared. That's the message that we need to send out, and send out hard, because I know I even talked to some of my friends who are not in medicine, and some of them are like, we didn't need to do all this. Why are we doing all this? And I think that's a good thing. That I think that shows that we've done a good job, that all these people aren't dying like it was initially predicted.
Maybe I'm living in a different world, but I think I don't know, from where I am, I hear tons of Ohio's done great, Ohio's done this, everyone praises DeWine. I mean, yeah, there's always two sides to everything. I think there's been plenty of back patting and congratulations for Ohio doing well on the curve. I don't feel the necessity of us emphasizing how well Ohio's done, because I think it's been done like overboard. I think I hear it all the time. The news every morning when I get up, I hear about it. So I mean, I don't, Anita, I don't really think it's something we need to address. I think there's always going to be those who are going to say have a different viewpoint, and they're allowed to have that different viewpoint. They're a minority, and it's totally against what everything on the media says. So right. I think the media is doing the job. I don't really feel a need that we have.
Yeah, the problem is sometimes it's that minority that has that loud voice, that then people start to go, well, maybe they're right. Maybe we didn't need to do all this. So I don't know that there's anything to do at this point, but I think we do need to have some sort of, whether it's talking points or whether it's.
I think that is a good talking point. I think I'm glad they're there. I think you need that point of view. I think at some point the economy has to get started. At some point, if we don't have a solution to this, you can flatten the curve so much we'll be in the same point as we are right now next year. So I think there needs to be a counterpoint. And I think it's good for discussion. I don't see any need that we need to drown them out. I still think they're the minority.
I don't think we need to drown them out, but I think that, first of all, I believe that the medical community has been raised to a level that people are now listening with a different ear. And I think it's an opportunity for physicians, other providers to give a voice of reason. And to that, at least in our practice, where we're still in contact with patients, we're, giving that dialogue and reassuring and explaining, because there's a lot that the general population doesn't understand, and that ignorance can come back to work in a different direction. So I think Anita's point is well taken, but it doesn't have to be a battle. I think it just needs to be, let's tell our community to continue to be in dialogue so that we can share the information that's important.
So a month ago, when we discussed this, and at that time we only knew what we knew, I gave the example of one of my personal experiences in Dallas of handling the West Nile epidemic or whatever it was. And I used Dallas County Medical Society example to say that organization was looked at as the Switzerland. It was the umbrella organization above local healthcare systems that was seemed as impartial, unbiased, community-minded, and was essentially the good housekeeping seal of approval for information transfer. And I saw the CMA as being exactly in that position. Certainly COTS was. And I'm not trying to capitalize on a branding opportunity. This is not about branding. This is about being involved and accomplishing all of those goals. We're not here to play politics. We're not here to get more press. We're not here to see how many tweets and likes we can get. We're here to bring people together and provide high quality, accurate information to the community and to the physician members. So with that in mind, as the overarching goal, at least in my mind, I am very pleased to see what we've been shown here tonight by TANDI and others. I think this is the right message to send, and I would hope that this is the first of many to come that are along the same line. And I know you've shown us that there's a strategy that goes forward from this. I think all of us should now be called upon to do what we've been asking everybody to do now for quite some time, which is get on social media, make sure that this is liked, retweeted, what have you, add your color commentary as you wish. If you have something to say, then by all means, there are many mechanisms to do so that are popular and can be looked upon as good housekeeping seal of approval. So I like the vlogs, the blogs, etc. So, I really like what we're seeing here. Any other feedback from the group? Any constructive comments that we can give TANDI and others on how we want this to go out? Because TANDI, you said this is debuting, the communication part is Friday, is that right?
Yeah, we'll be at the end of the week as we wrap up the assets and sharing those with everyone, and then Annie and Lisa will be making sure that they are blasted around our social channels and other places. I will go back for just 1 second to Anita's comment. I'm with several of you from a communication perspective. The interesting thing is, one of the things that I usually say when you get into, if you're in a communication situation that can get adversarial, which I'm not recommending whatsoever, is to stay in your lane. And the amazing thing that we have is staying in our lane, focused on health, keeps us a bit out of the politics, keeps us a bit out of the fray. And that is a great position to be in. So I think Mark said, I'm not sure I wrote it down, I wrote down the word explain. That is the best strategy that we have around the things that we have, especially with COTS and the preparedness, the collaboration, the organization that's been put forth. Those were some of the things that you guys were saying. All of those things that have been put forth, and we'll put together some talking points around those. But being able to explain what's happened there, and it's very factual based driven versus any of the highly emotional and highly political things that come into play around this as well will help us support that message in a really strong way. So I will take away just putting some of those down, so we've got those as talking points and everyone can have those and be able to share those. Doesn't have to feel like it's in an adversarial way, but to be able to say, this is what we've done and this is what's helped us. There's going to be, I think, some interesting things across the board, not just for us in the state of Ohio, but all across for the question of kind of overreacting or being overprepared, or if people believe what could have been from the models. And that's something that we're going to be looking at, that people are going to be looking at across the board. But my best advice is stay in the lane. We have a great lane to be in. We have a great story to tell, and keep explaining and educating around that.
Yeah, I think that the take-home message is that, you know, we didn't build the infrastructure for this pandemic. We had the infrastructure for this pandemic, and that's why we were able to activate it, not invent it. And that's the
That's a
sound.
great one.
You can write that down right there, Tandy. I just said that.
I'm just going to go to this recording and pick it up.
I see it. It's happening. I see it. So I think that that's what the message should be. It isn't self-serving. We just need people to know, and that's been our struggle the whole time, just to kind of intertwine, you know, why we're here as a board for this organization and the affiliated organizations that roll up into CMA, is we're here for situations like this. Pandemic or no, that is our interest, that is our focus, and we're ready, you know, so we are prepared. And we are prepared because we've been, you know, working behind the scenes, and now we're walking, you know, forward, again, not in a self-serving way. So I think this is great. I actually would hope that you could send us this slide deck, as you mentioned earlier, and also, if you don't mind stepping up, since this is so fast moving. I mean, a month to month is literally an eternity at this point in time, at least to me anyway. So I wonder if, as this rolls out, you can send us even weekly updates on what's to come, or what you need from us, because we can do this asynchronously. We don't have to all be on a call to do this and to know what's going on. And as a matter of fact, I know that we're putting out that social media digest at the end of the week. I mean, now's a great time to start force multiplying these messages through all of us, and Annie, through all of the people that you used to have Thanksgiving with, that's now canceled probably. Whoever else can help on your end to help get the word out, that'd be great.